don't have any girlfriends, red flag.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
That's
if
a
they
red
don't have
flag.
any friends who are girls, who are just
Guys?
friends. Yes.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
Yo, that's wild because there
Red
are
flag.
women that say if they have girlfriends, it's a red flag.
I know, and it's not my job to deconstruct their own like misogyny, but like you know,
Facts.
like I've gone to therapy, and if you cannot see, like, if you don't have
Facts.
any girls who are friends, like any women,
What does that say
Facts.
about a guy if they don't have any girls that are friends?
because then that just means that you can only see women as like sexual
Yes,
partners,
Exactly.
which is like you only see women as you only see women as people who you can fuck.
yeah. Somebody who's
You
just
know what
like
I mean?
that.
If
That's
you're
it.
not able to see like any other, like, because most of the times they're like, no, why would I be friends with a girl? And I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
no,
not
'cause
how friends
I've
work.
genuinely
Yeah.
heard men
You know what
say,
I mean?
like, why
Like,
would I be friends with her if I
yeah.
can't fuck her? It's like, well, then,
Or not
like,
even, they
isn't-
won't even, like, not
Oh, they
even
went that
necessarily
far?
that they would be
I've-
like,
I've
why
had
would I be
guys say
friends
that.
with a girl if I won't fuck her? But they would just be like, I just, like, why would I be, like, I don't need to be friends with a girl or whatever,
Yeah.
but I'm like,
the inability
there's-
to register the friendship, any friendship.
that
at
just
that
means that
level,
you
there's
cannot
some-
fathom,
Yeah.
like, do you think that they don't have anything to offer you in a friendship, which is insane.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, that is an insane statement to have.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
I
that's
I can see
simply
it.
not true.
I was trying to
Like,
figure out like a scenario where like a guy might not have friends that are girls, but I can't think of anything.
yeah, you
Which
can.
just proves your point
Yeah, big time.
because
Yeah.
you know. But to the other statement that I made, I've had experiences where like you have too many friends that are girls. Like I mean, and again, they're just intimidated. They're
Yeah.
just
Yeah, like,
they're
that's-
just intimidated
like,
by the fact
yeah.
that I am comfortable being around
Yeah.
women to the point where like I can call them my friends. We can go out to dinner. We can go and watch a movie. We can go have drinks. And without them, and they feel like my friends are like crossing a territory that like only belongs to them. And you've seen it. You've seen it.
Yeah, that's
happen.
so
Weird as
crazy
fuck.
because like genuinely, like I never registered it as like nowadays Marseille would have been like why because of like just previous
It's insecurity.
insecurities
Yeah.
and previous just like letdowns from like a partner specific.
But you know, it
but
works
it was
both
only
ways.
partner specific. Like it was never to me like it's never been generalized to me like oh I wouldn't want you to have girlfriends. It's always just been like
I don't want that person. I
that
don't trust
particular
that person.
partner at the time, like if they had girlfriends, it was cool. But then all of a sudden, I'd find shit out and be like, "Oh, why didn't you tell me?" Like it's always just been like,
Yeah, it can be a delicate situation.
yeah. So, but now
it works the same both ways. Like I've had to grow out of the idea of
Yeah.
like, oh, they're allowed. They can have friends that are guys.
I
Like,
definitely-
you know, it's
yeah.
not a big deal. And men, I probably get like that more than women. Like there's probably
Mm-hmm.
more women that say if you don't have girlfriends, it's a red flag than there are women that say if you don't have girlfriends, it's what I want.
Yeah.
You know. But there's probably more men that say if you have guys that are friends, it's a red flag. Because they're
Because-
just trying to fuck you. In
because-
their mind,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's just like
Exactly,
it's
and
just
that's
like they-
also like that
that's
is
just-
also a red flag to me because
Yeah.
I'm like that means that you cannot have girlfriends because
Right.
you can only
You
like
only think of
relate
them
to
as, like,
women if you
potential.
want to fuck them.
Right. And this just goes back to the insecurities that men have about like, you know, and then you get into the very other nuanced conversation of like, are you allowed to be friends with your exes? And if you end up, which the answer to that is, to me, is yes.
And that's how I found out.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's how I like got not. I mean, I always thought it was kind of like weird before, and like I've always had guy friends, but that's also how I got to that where I was like, but we're not like you're saying that we're friends, but we've never been just friends. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So I'm like, you've never really had just girlfriends, so I know that you're not just my friend.
Sure.
So then I'm like, that doesn't work.
Right,
And
right,
also,
right.
that's weird.
Yeah. I think that people can be friends with their exes, and then whenever
Yeah.
you meet somebody else and you're trying to talk to them, that's the kind of information you have to disclose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, especially if they're close friends, especially if they're
Yeah.
still in your life to some degree on some like How I Met
Yeah.
Your Mother shit,
Yeah.
like how Robin would still hang out with Ted and stuff like that. Like
That's insane.
there's you got to disclose that.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, no, oh, and then they find out later, like, oh, we dated for like a year or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, no. You got to
No.
say that.
You gotta say it from the
at
get-go. Yeah.
Close to the beginning.
Yeah.
Maybe not from the get go, but like you got to say it close to the beginning because like if they are insecure about it, the only way they're not going to be insecure about it is if they see you be just friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
don't know.
I would feel like if I was dating somebody and they introduced me to their ex and they were like, "Oh, this is my friend so and so." And then later on they were like, "Actually, we dated for a year." I would be like, "Then why did you lie to me?"
I would have been.
So you would have preferred that he introduced you to her as
Because
this is my ex-girlfriend so and so?
This is my friend, or like you can still be like, like we did date, but we're just friends now, because that is the truth.
But in the moment when he's introducing her, or
yeah.
beforehand? I
No,
would do it beforehand.
I would do it beforehand.
Or beforehand, yeah.
I would-
yeah.
I
But
would
I'm
be
saying
like-
Like I would never introduce somebody as like,
I get
hey,
what
this
you're
is my
saying.
good
No,
friend,
no, no.
and we
Yeah,
also
no.
dated though.
No, no,
and
no.
like,
I
leave.
mean, like,
I feel like
before.
it would be
Yeah,
like way
before.
more.
Not like in the moment being like, hey, this is my ex-girlfriend, this is my current girlfriend. Like, no, but I
you
mean
guys
like,
be friends.
but yeah. Like obviously be like, oh, this is my friend so-and-so, but I would want to know before, as opposed to being like, oh, we're gonna, we're meeting these people and there's this person who's a friend and this person who's a friend. And then later on then be
Find
like,
out, yeah.
oh, by the way, we actually
I feel like
dated.
it would be smart enough to be like,
Because then I would
if
be
you're
like,
about to
so you
hang
left that out on purpose.
Yeah, like if you're
And
about
for
to hang
why?
out
It
with
is a
friends,
touchy
this makes
subject,
sense.
but yeah, I can totally understand that.
Yeah, I mean, it
That
depends on the
rationale.
person. Like again, some people, because like I don't really care, but like about like exes like being friends or whatever. So, but there's some people that really do. So I feel like it depends on like
Sure,
your partner.
but how it would change everything if you were dating somebody, they introduced you to a friend, told you beforehand, checked all the marks, right? Like told you beforehand that they dated, whatever, and then like as you were hanging out with those people, you would see both that there's like no lingering things there, but that there is like a very comfortable remnant. That could still be kind of a little like weird.
It's always
wouldn't it be?
touchy.
I
There's
feel
like
like it
I feel like
depends.
there's
Some tension there, maybe.
I feel like there's no way to just make it to where it will 100% be okay all of the time. Like I feel like
that's
it's
why,
very.
but that's why people say no exes, period. Because of that, because there's no way to make it 100%
I feel like
all the time.
I don't.
That's
know.
why they would say
I
that.
think it
I feel
depends
like-
because I feel like I get why people say that, and in a lot of ways, like in a lot of situations, I might be like, no, you can't be friends with that ex, or I wouldn't be friends in that sense. But also, there's like relationships end for a lot of different reasons, and relationships are also very, very different. So it's like I feel like you can be friends with some exes, and I feel like there is instances where like you can be with like your partner and their ex, and like you can see like, oh, that like
It's just platonic,
a level
yeah,
of
yeah.
comfortability. Yeah, like it does not necessarily have to be like romantic or like sexual in any way. Like it can be totally platonic, and you just have to like you can tell too. Like I feel like especially when it comes to like your partner and stuff like that, like you can always, unless
Your
you're
gut
like
intuition
really
tells you,
off
like,
on your
immediately,
intuition, but I feel like
it should
you
be
can
able,
always
it should be able to be
tell.
obvious. I always check myself. I always say like
Like, would I do this with a friend? Would I act with a friend like that?
Like
or,
I always check myself in the situations where I've been introduced to people that they've dated before. I always say things like, okay, even if you do get like this little ick, like check your insecurities. Like be a grown up, right? And on the worst case scenario, I tell myself, okay, worst case scenario, there's something going on there. There's something like, lingering or whatever, right? If that is the case, then you don't need to be with this person anyway.
Yeah.
So that's what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The conversation
That's
is real,
what I mean.
is
It's
real cut
like-
and dry after that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, whatever, but...
Yeah.